हरे कृष्ण। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। So we will just continue the discussion. So here the prayer is offered to Lord Dattatreya. Means, of course, the three Lord, Supreme Lord, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva appeared in front of Atri Muni, and he is offering his prayers. Yesterday, one devotee asked that we were discussing how Maya, she gives her as various tests. She makes sure that we are really serious to go to Krishna, otherwise she don't allow. She is always giving. The question was, why don't we know the question paper of Maya in advance so that we are prepared? Actually, we already know the question paper of Maya and we know answer sheet also, but still we fail. All the tests of Maya are in front of us. What all ways Maya tests, and all the things we all everybody knows, and we also know what is the solution to come out of it. But still, interestingly, we fail the test. We know lust, greed, pride, anger, envy, illusion, name, fame, all these things are tests of Maya. And we also know the solution. Solution is we have to chant, take to devotional service, practice sincerely. So all the things are there. But still, unfortunately, uh, we fail the exam. So here, uh, for Atri Muni, he was not knowing who is the Supreme. In Kali Yuga, we know who is the Supreme. In that time, there is no much effect of Maya. He can practice very seriously. But now, even though we know the Supreme Lord, but the Maya is so heavy. Like now, it is in the hands of everyone, in form of their mobile. And just one button, one side you have Bhagavatam class, in another button, you can take any other video. So it's so easy to access Maya. And previously, like to get this much access for Mayas was not easy. And same thing with Krishna also. To get this much understanding about Krishna, what we are getting, we are hearing every day Bhagavatam class with so much commentaries of all acharyas at one place. This is not possible because there is no social media or anything. If somebody has to get the knowledge from any acharya, then he has to travel all the way, walk, go to that particular holy place and sit for many months and then hear, then you will get the knowledge which we are getting in 1 hour. It takes few months and such a great endeavor to get what we are getting in 1 hour. But at that time Maya was also so much inaccessible. But now Maya is so much accessible, Krishna is also accessible. So here Atri Muni, he says, I called for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, desiring a son like him, and I thought of him only. But although he is far beyond the mental speculation of man, all three of you have come here. Kindly let me know how you have come, for I am greatly bewildered about this. So, after doing so much, can you imagine? He's so powerful that he could call three personalities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva at a time. Being so powerful and so much capable, what is he not knowing is who is supreme. For us, we don't have that much capacity, but we have more information than Atri Muni also. We may not have realization, but in terms of information, we are better informed than Atri Muni also. Atri Muni was confidently aware that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Lord of the universe. So he prayed for the one Supreme Lord. He was surprised, therefore, the three of them appeared. And Maitreya Vacha iti tasya vacha srutva trayasते विबुधाश्रवा प्रत्याहु श्लक्षणा वाचा prahasya tan risham prabho. The great sage Maitreya continued. Upon hearing Atri Muni speak in that way, the three great deities smiled and they replied in following sweet words. Devo uchu यथा क्षतस्ते संकल्पो भावयं तेनैव नान्यथा सत्सङ्कल्पस्य ते ब्रह्मन् यद्वै धायति ते वयम्. The three deities told Atri Muni, Dear Brahmana, you are perfect in your determination, therefore, as you are decided, so it will happen. It will not happen otherwise. We are all the same person upon whom you are meditating, and therefore we all have come to you. So, because he did not tell who is, generally, who is for the definition of God is his controller, maintainer, and destroyer. So, all three are fitting in it. One is controlling, one is maintaining, one destroying. So, all three have come. So, according to Atri Muni's understanding. Atri Muni unspecifically thought of, means he did not think about absolute truth. Otherwise, only Krishna would have come. He was only thinking about the Supreme. He was thinking about the Lord of the universe. If he thinks about absolute truth, only Krishna will come. There is no other in between. Atri Muni unspecifically thought of the personality of Godhead, the Lord of Universe. Although he had no clear idea of Lord of Universe, nor of his specific form, Mahavishnu, from whom breathing millions of universe emanate, and into whom they are again withdrawn, may be accepted Lord of Universe, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, from whose abdomen Brahma appeared. He can be considered Lord of Universe. Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, Super Soul, he can be considered Lord of Universe. And Brahma and Shiva may also be accepted lords of universe because they are all doing this very major activity, maintaining, destroying, and creation. He is not thinking of absolute truth. Absolute truth is the first shloka of Bhagavatam, the definition of absolute truth. Janmadhyasya. Janmadi means creation, maintenance, destruction. So that part is of just one word, Janmadi. And yatonvayaditaras chatvesh abhigna swarat. So all these things, abhigna, swarat, and these qualities are for the absolute truth. It is not for the lords of the universe. They are not, this point cannot be applied. It should be absolute truth only. And so here Lord Vishnu is the Lord of universe because he is its maintainer. Brahma creates different planetary systems and population. So he is considered Lord of universe. Shiva, who is ultimately destroyed universe, he is also considered Lord. Therefore, Atri Muni did not specifically mention whom he wanted all. That's why all three of them came. Yes, Kil Mataji. That's all.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yeah, just now you made a distinction between the absolute truth and like the Supreme Lord of the universe. You
Lords
said
of the
there's,
universe.
yeah, the lords of the universe. You said there are certain attributes that the lords of the universe don't have, that only the absolute truth have. Can you repeat those?
Oh, this is first shloka of Bhagavatam. Janmadhyasya tonvayaditarataschatvesha vigna. So in that he is Swarat, he is completely independent, he is cognizant, he knows past, present. He cognizant means directly, indirectly is cognizant. Everything that is happening in the creation, he knows everything about it. And he makes, he gives, creates illusion. He is the master of the spiritual worlds. So everything is resting on him. So all these things are applicable to absolute truth. Lords of the universes, they are just creating, maintaining, and destroying. So there is a difference in that.
Well, my problem comes only when it comes to Vishnu, who is maintaining, who is also Krishna.
Of course, he is also he is an expansion of the absolute truth, and he is also absolute truth, we can say. But here, what was considered by Atri Muni is Lord of the universe because who is maintainer? He is not praying in terms of the absolute truth. He is just praying in terms of the lords of the universe only. So these three can be considered lords of the universe. That's what Prabhupada is also telling. So his point of view is Lord of the universe. He's not talking about absolute truth. So Lord of the universe is all three are lords of the universe. So they came.
Uh-huh. He's, when you say that he's not thinking of absolute truth, he's not thinking of the Lord who is the Lord of any worlds beyond the material worlds.
Yeah. So if he is thinking of absolute truth, even only Vishnu would have come. If he thought
If
of
he's
absolute truth, only
if,
Vishnu would have come. But he thought of lords of the universe, that's why all three came. That's the point what Prabhupada is telling.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So here, before, since you were thinking of having a son exactly like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord of the Universe, your determination will be fulfilled. Yanti Deva Vrata Deva. So Prabhupada says, in other words, one's determination is fulfilled according to the strength of one's devotion. If one is attached to a particular demigod in promotion to the abode of the demigod, if one is attached to Pitas or forefathers, one is promoted to their planet. And similarly, one is attached to Supreme Personality of God, he will go there. So Atri Muni had no clear conception of Lord of Universe. Therefore, the three presiding deities who are actually the Lords of the Universe in three departments of modes of nature all came before it. Sorry. So now, according to the strength of his determination for a son, his desire would be fulfilled by the grace of the Lord. So he is very qualified, but he didn't have that information which we all have. Fortunately, because of mercy of Prabhupada. अतस्मत् अंशभूतास्ते आत्मज लोकविस्तृता भवितारोऽङ्गभद्रं ते विश्रप्यन्ति च ते यशः. He says that, oh, you will have sons who will represent a partial manifestation of our potential, and because we desire all good fortune for you, those sons will glorify your reputation throughout the world. Now, Atri Muni, he is blessed that, okay, you will get our parcel expansions. And that is actually a very special situation. Even if you see, many questions will come, who is the Supreme Lord, who is the Supreme Lord? Such questions many times we hear in Puranas, in Bhagavatam. We say, why is they are so confused? Even Narada Muni is asking, who is the Supreme to Lord Brahma? And we say, how they can be so confused? It's such a simple thing. We have such nice, simple shlokas, Ishvara Parama Krishna and Sarva Karana Karana, and we have, all these things, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swam. Still, why are they confused? We are, this is actually mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Prabhupada and our Acharyas, that they made things so clear because they have Nana Shastra Vichara Naika Nipuno. So they have extracted the essence from all the scriptures and then they have given to us. That's why it is easy for us. So we should be extremely grateful for them too, for giving this. Even acharyas who have come before, they have to work very hard to establish this. Evam karma varam dattva prati cha sureshvara sabhajitastayor samyag dhampatyor matsatostatah. Thus, while the couple looked down, the three deities Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara disappeared from that place after bestowing upon Atri Muni the benediction. Somo bhutbadbrahmano amshyay datto vishnostu yogyavit dhurvasa shankarasyaamsho nirbhodhangdisha prajaha. Thereafter, from the partial representation of Brahma, the moon was born of them. From the partial representation of Vishnu, the great mystic Dattatreya was born. And from the partial representation of Shankara, Lord Shiva, Durvasa was born. Now you may hear from me the many sons of Angira. So he is shifting the topic. He just paused in between, explained about the Lord's appearance as Dattatreya. Because Dattatreya is born, that's why this pastime elaborated. And they are not like you're having so much problem with having to maintain children and all. So they don't have such problems. Like we see how 60,000 sons are born and 10,000 sons are born. So they are not like the mother has to baby feed all the 60,000 children, 10,000 children. It don't happen like that. They immediately grow because they are demigods. Shraddhatva Angirasa Patni Chatsaro Suta Kanyaka Shini Vali Kuhu Raksha Chutra Anumatistata. Angira's wife, Shraddha, gave birth to four daughters named Shini, Vali, Kuhu, Rakha, and Anumati. Besides these four daughters, she also had another two sons. One of them was known as Uttakya, and the other was learned as Brihaspati. So Angira's son is Brihaspati. Pulasya begotten in his wife Havirbhu, one son of the name Agastya, who is his next birth, became Dharagni. Besides him, Pulasya begetted another very great and saintly son, whose name is Vishrava. And Vishrava had two wives. The first wife was Idavada, from whom Kuvera, the master of all Yakshas, was born, and next wife is Keshini, whom three sons were Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Vibhishana. So this lineage, na, they are going across the millenniums, across Manvantaras. So this is happened in different Manvantaras. It's not in Swayambhu Manvantara, because this is somewhere third or fourth Manvantara. These pastimes happened. So, but the list is just given like that. So it is not just all in Swayambhu Manvantara only. Pulasya gatir bharya tri asuta sati sutan karma shrayatam vairam sham sahishnum cha mahamate. Gati, the wife of sage Pulaha, gave birth to three sons named Karma Shrestha, Variyana, and Sahishnu, and all of them were great sages. Gati, the wife of Pulaha, was a fifth daughter of Kardamuni. She was very faithful to her husband, and all her sons were as good as he. So all are Pulaha's sons. They are all great sages. So what is the responsibility of these sages is they have to uh, perform austerities and get access to the Vedic mantras which are there in the creation, so which are very subtle, and they get access, and they start giving the instructions to the general mass of people. So that's why they are very, very responsible and great personalities, and because of them, we are all like one of the runas, one of the debts we have to pay is for the rishis. So all these people, they are the cause of all the knowledge that is there in this creation. And Krutu's wife Kriya gave birth to 60,000 great sages named Valakilyas. All these sages were greatly advanced in spiritual knowledge, and their bodies were illuminated by such knowledge. So Valakilyas, we know the story of Garuda. So what happens is Garuda, once he was uh, having to protect his mother from slavery, so he goes around. So he actually uh, had some fight, and he protects these Valakilyas. They were falling down from a tree. They stay on a very huge tree. All of them are one place only. And they stay on a huge tree, and Garuda protects them. Kriya was the sixth daughter of Kardamuni, and she produced 60,000 sages. So they all actually run in front of the sun god and glorifying him, Surya Narayana. So this is Valakilyas who run in the opposite direction in front of Surya Narayana. The great sage Vashishta begotten in his wife Urja, sometimes called Arundhati. Seven spotless sages headed by the sage named Chitraketu. So the names of these seven sages are Chitraketu, Surochi, Viraja, Mitra, Ulbhana, Vishnu Bhadranya, and Dhumna. Some other very competent sons were born from Vashishta's other wife. Urja, who is sometimes known as Arundhati, the wife of Vasishta, was the ninth daughter of Kardamuni. So here ends the daughters list of Kardamuni. Now comes Chitra, the wife of Atharva gave birth to son named Ashwashirsha by accepting a great vow called Dadhyancha. Now you may hear from me about the descendants of the sage Bhrigu. So she is the eighth daughter of the wife Atharva. The wife of Atharva, known Chitta, was known as Shanti. She is the eighth daughter of Kardama. The sage Bhrigu was highly fortunate. In his wife, known as Khyati, he begot two sons named Dhata and Vidhata. The two daughters named Sri, who was very much devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These are the people who actually decides the destiny of people, Data and Vidata. They are the people who decide, who write all our is how who decides our prarabdha. These are the deities, Data and Vidata. They decides our prarabdha. They decide that how much we should suffer and enjoy in this life. Like say, I committed so many activities in many lifetimes, but all the things are not given at a time. So every lifetime, some particular a part of our karma is given to us, which is called prarabdha, which is decided by these two personalities. The sage Meru had two daughters named Ayati and Niyati, who is given in charity to Dhata and Vidata. Ayati and Niyati gave birth to two sons, Markanda and Prana. From Markanda, Markandeya Muni was born, and from Prana, the sage Vedashirsha, whose son was Ushna Shukracharya Ushna, was born as Kavi. This Kavi was also belonged to the descendant of Bhrigu dynasty. So this is how the lineage came. And my dear Vidra, the population of the universe was thus increased by the descendants of the sages and the daughters of Kardama. Anyone who hears the description of this dynasty with faith will be relieved from all sinful reactions. Another of Manu's daughter, known as Prashuti, married the son of Brahma named Daksha. So now comes the interesting thing. Daksha begot 16 very beautiful daughters from the lotus eyes eh, in his wife Prasuti. Of these 16 daughters, 13 were given in marriage to Dharma and one daughter was given to Agni. And then the list comes of all these daughters. One of the remaining two daughters are given in charity to Pitraloka, where she resides very amicably. And the other was given to Lord Shiva, who is the deliverer of sinful persons from material entanglement. The names of these 13 daughters of Daksha were given to Dharma are Shraddha, Mitra, Daya, Shanti, Tushti, Pushti, Kriya, Unnati, Buddhi, Meda, Titiksha, Hari, and Murti. So just by hearing them, no, all these names only we get purified. So very good. These 13 daughters produced the following sons. Shraddha gave birth to Subha, Mitra produced Prasada, Daya gave birth to Abhaya, Shanti gave birth to Krusha, Tushti gave birth to Mudha, Pushti gave birth to Samaya, Kriya gave birth to Yoga, Unnati gave birth to Drapa, Buddhi gave birth to Artha, Meda gave birth to Smriti, Titiksha gave birth to Kshama, and Hari gave birth to Praya, Prashraya. Murti, a reservoir of all respectable qualities, gave birth to Sri Naranarayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada did not write any purport, so we'll also not take. On the occasion of the appearance of Narayana, the entire world was full of joy. Everyone's mind became tranquil, and thus in all directions, the air, the rivers, and mountains became pleasant. So that means Narayan Rishi is the grandson of Daksha. So Daksha is not an ordinary person, very qualified. He could give a daughter whose son is the Supreme Lord. In the heavenly planets, began to play and they showered flowers from the sky. The pacified sages chanted Vedic prayers. The denizens of heaven, known as Gandharvas and Kinnaras, sang the beautiful damsels of heavenly planet danced in this way. At the time of appearance of Narayana, all the signs of good fortune were visible. Just at the time, great demigods like Brahma also offered their respectful prayers. And then now the demigod said, let us offer our respectful obeisance unto the transcendental personality of Godhead who created as external energy this cosmic manifestation which is situated in him as the air and clouds are situated in the space and who has now appeared in the form of Naranarayana in the house of Dharma. So Dharma's son is Naranarayana. Very great personalities. Okay, so Dharma is also son of Brahma, I think. He is one of the sons of Brahma. The universal form of Lord is a cosmic manifestation which is which is an exhibition of external energy of the Supreme Personality of God. So in space there are innumerable varieties of planets and also the air. And in the air there are various colored clouds and sometimes we see aeroplanes running from one planet to another, one place to another. Thus, the entire cosmic manifestation is full of variety, but actually that variety is manifestation of external energy. Actually, we don't have access for all these things because our consciousness is low. We don't get access to see all these things and witness. And the laws, what we are having, the physical laws of the earth won't be applicable there. That's why we don't, we see how they are able to travel, how much time it takes, all these things. No, it is not, they transport from one dimension to another dimension. We're in a different dimension. That's why we don't have access to them and they have access because their consciousness is high, then we get access to a higher dimension. That's why the sages appear in one place, disappear in another place. How they are able to travel? That is, they just change the dimension. That's why it is possible. The highest dimension is spiritual dimension, and that is a spiritual world is not just a physical thing, it's a consciousness level. So all these things happen in a different consciousness level. We don't have access to all these things. If you see fifth canto, then we see the planetary systems and all. No? It's quite confusing. How is it possible? you know, According to that planetary system, on the south side, if we see, we should not be able to see anything from the south. We should only see huge Bharatakanda only should come because whole sky should be filled with it according to the dimensions. But it don't happen like that. And Meru mountain is so huge that we should not be able to see sun only for some time because it goes behind Meru mountain. The Meru mountain, the shadow of Meru mountain should fall on us, but it does not fall. We can see sun all the time. So how is it possible? So this cannot be understood like that. So here also, when all these great personalities, they stay at a different level, different dimensions, and we don't have access. And the laws that are there also not physical laws like what we have now because our body is more of earth element. So here Prabhupada is writing, thus the entire cosmic manifestation is full of variety, but actually that variety is a manifestation of external energy of Supreme, not that energy is situated in him. Now, the Lord himself, after manifesting his energy, appears within the creation of his energy, which is simultaneously one with and different from him. And therefore, the demigods offer their respects to the Supreme Lord. There are some philosophers called non-dualist who, because of their impersonal conception, think that varieties are false. In this verse, it is clearly stated, Yo Mayaya Virachitam. This indicates that the varieties are a manifestation of energy of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, because the energy is not different from the God, the varieties are also factual. So then they are offering further prayers. This is let that Supreme Personality of Godhead who is understood by, see again, what happened at Atri when he got Dattatreya, then was a break. There was story about him, prayers about him. Now again Naranarayan appeared, there is a break. Now there again the prayers are coming. This is the way to understand Bhagavatam and this is the way to understand the absolute truth. Everybody has realizations. Now, when Atri Muni offered the prayers, what was his prayers? He said, I am confused. Tell me who is the Supreme. And now here, when the demigods are offering prayers to Naranar and Rishi, what they are offering? So this is in the previous one, they are offering that, okay, you have come, you have, because of you, everything is happening. And here they are selling, let the Supreme Personality of God, who is understood by truly authorized Vedic literature, and who has created peace and prosperity, destroy all calamities of the created world, be kind enough to bestow his glance upon the demigods. His merciful glance can supersede the beauty of the spotless lotus flower, which is the home of goddesses of fortune. So, this is what they are expecting, because this is the pastime which Narayana Rishi is going to do. So that's why they are offering these prayers. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the origin of cosmic manifestation, is covered by the wonderful activities of material nature, just as outer space or the illumination of sun and moon is sometimes covered by the clouds of dust, clouds or dust. It is very difficult to find the origin of cosmic manifestation. Therefore, material scientists conclude that the nature is ultimately cause of all manifestation, because they are not able to know the subtle aspect. Very grossly, you cannot know only. They don't even understand. Like say, when you read Bhagavatam, you get a different pleasure, and when you read some comic or a novel, you don't get that experience, because it is much subtler knowledge. And so they don't have access for it. It cannot be accessed because I have information. It is not knowledge. It is not realization. But from Shastra or authentic literature like Bhagavad Gita and Vedic scriptures, we understand that behind this wonderful cosmic manifestation is the Supreme Personality of God. So, and then he says that Maitreya said, O Vidra, thus the demigods offered their prayers to Supreme Personality of Godhead, appearing as a sage Naranarayana. The Lord glanced upon them with mercy and then departed for Gandhamadana hill. So he went to perform his tapasya. That's what he appeared for. Thus, that Narayan Rishi, who is the partial representative of Krishna, has now appeared in the dynasties of Yadu and Kuru in the form of Krishna and Arjuna, respectively, to mitigate the burden of the world. So here we have discussed this, that in whole Laghu Bhagavatamata, whole this shloka is taken. Tvaimo vai bhagavato harer amsham hi agato bhara vyayau cha bhuvau krishno yat kurunandano. So how this verse should be understood? What Jiva Goswami says that, of course, Rupa Goswami is writing, is that Bhagavatam is the main verse of Bhagavatam is Ete Chamsa Kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. This is called Paribhashasutra Bhagavatam. We have to understand Bhagavatam based on this verse. Now, any verse which is contradicting this verse, then we should reconcile. All the verse should support that verse of Ete Chamsa Kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Why? Because it is standalone verse. It is not depending on any other verses. It is not depending on any other context. No, it is on its own. And it is spoken in the beginning of the scripture, and in the section where all other incarnations are mentioned. If you remember, this is in the first canto, third chapter of Bhagavatam, where Suta Goswami is mentioning all the incarnations. And Narayan Rishi is also there. So he is mentioning, he is giving the list of all incarnations. And after giving the list of all incarnations, in the end he says, okay, I have explained all these incarnations. They are Ete Chamsa Kala Aramsha. Either they are part of their expansions are plenary portions of the Supreme Lord. But Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So the quotation where Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam came is when all the incarnations are explained. And then standalone verse is not depending on any context. It is told that Krishna is only the Supreme Lord. And now that is the Paribhasha Sutra. Now there are so many such verses like this which we are seeing. Narayan Rishi or their expansions are Krishna and Balram. So if such verse comes, then we should know, no, Narayan Rishi are expansions of Krishna and Balram, because it should it should connect with Ete Cham Sakalam Sumsa Krishnastu. So it should match with the original Paribhasa Sutra. So any shloka in Bhagavatam should match the Paribhasa Sutra only, because that is what is a book means. There should be only one subject. If you have many subjects in the book, that is not a good book. So only one subject is there in Bhagavatam, that is absolute truth, Krishna only. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam is actually the subject, and all other things are only to make us understand that subject. So that is actually the speciality. Many subjects, many things are there, ultimately to highlight that part only. That's why it is called Vyanganavati. It is indirectly glorification of only one thing. Now, I say, why Srimati Radharani is not there? Yes, whole Bhagavatam is glorifying Srimati Radharani without giving the name. Whole Bhagavatam is glorifying absolute truth, Krishna only. Even though with many topics, is ultimately for that only. Say, for example, now night 8 o'clock is it happened, and some guest came to meet me. Now I want to tell them to go out. I want to take rest. So now there is the most no direct way is telling, get lost from my room. Or I can tell that, oh, generally guest leaves at 8 o'clock in my room. Or another way is telling, I am very tired. Now somebody who is very intelligent, he can understand the things in an indirect language only. You need not tell. If I tell I am tired, the person who is intelligent, he understand that, okay, you want me to leave the room now. So instead of directly telling I want you to leave, you are telling something else. So this is called Vyanganavati. Like say two boys, they are in the market, and one boy tell to another boy, sun is setting. Now he's telling sun is setting. That means many things. He may say that, okay, it's time to go home. It's time for our shop to open, or it is time to. So he may indicate so many things. So who is speaking, at what place is doing, and what is the context. So the meaning changes. Similarly, Bhagavatam also, it is actually glorifying Krishna only. It is glorifying absolute truth. It is glorifying Srimati Radharani, but it's so much indirectly explained. That's why we need acharyas and commentaries to understand this. Otherwise, it is very difficult. So here, Naranarayana, who are partial expansions of Krishna, but it actually, yeah, that's why Prabhupada is directly translated. If you see the shloka wise, it is not like, but Prabhupada made easy, very easy translation for us. Narayana, who are partial expansions of Krishna. This is actually the meaning of this verse. If you directly take grammatically, it may look like Krishna and Balram are partial expansion of Narayan. But no, this is actually the translation which Prabhupada gave. That's why we need acharyas, because they understand the context. Translation should be based on context. If people translate, if word to word translated, that is the most poorest way to translate. Sentence by sentence translation is okay, but more important is you have to translate the whole passage at a time. Understand the context and then translate, then you get a proper translation. So here Prabhupada understand the context, that's why he could translate, no, Naranan Rishi is a partial expansion of Krishna. But if you literally translate this word to word, this shloka, then you get that Krishna and Balram are partial representation of Naranarayana. But that is not the context, that's why the translation is like that. Has now appeared in the dynasties of Yadu and Kuru in the form of Krishna and Arjuna respectively, to mitigate the burden of the world. Narayana is the supreme personality of God. Nara is the supreme personality of God. He is a part of the supreme personality of God. Thus, the energy and energy together are the supreme personality of God. Maitreya informed Vidura that Nara, the portion of Narayana, has appeared in the family of Kuru, and Narayana, the plenary expansion of Krishna, had come as Krishna. So, and then the predominating deity, fire god, begot in his wife Swaha three children named Pavaka, Pavamana, and Suchi, who exist by eating the oblations offered to the fire of sacrifice. So we will just maybe 2 3 61. So we will just continue this discussion tomorrow. Thank you all very much. Gilmata, you had some question or previously? Okay. Thank you all very much. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki